You have the floor for 5 minutes.
Commissioner, you confirmed that the RCMP raided the home of Mr. Christian Firth of GC Strategies, and you took the unusual step of informing the public of that search. Why?
Mr. Chair, I can answer that. That decision was based on the fact that it had been revealed publicly and that there was public visibility in front of that location that demonstrated the RCMP was there. So at that point, it becomes a fool's errand to attempt to cover the fact that we were there and that we were executing a search warrant there.
So are you able to take us through the scene? If Mr. Firth was present, Mr. Firth told us that the RCMP searched digital devices. Is that true? Are you able to confirm that that's in fact what happened?
I am not able to confirm at this time.
So Mr. Brock asked you before. I want to cover these questions again. Has Mr. Christian Firth been arrested?
I'm not going to confirm that.
Has he been charged?
As I stated earlier, if Mr. Firth had been charged, there'd be a public record of that.
So is there a public record of any charges being laid in relation to your investigation into the ArriveCan matter?
Not that I'm aware of.
We're in possession of an access to information document. It's A2023-00306. It's a memorandum for the clerk of the Privy Council from that department, from the PCO for the Prime Minister. The documents state that in January of 2023, the Prime Minister requested briefs related to ArriveCan. Is the RCMP aware of those briefs?
No, Mr. Chair, I'm not aware of any briefs.
So the document, Commissioner, goes on to say that the Prime Minister raised the issue of ArriveCan with the clerk of the Privy Council. Is the RCMP aware of those conversations and their contents?
No, Mr. Chair, I'm not aware of any conversations with the Prime Minister at PCO as well as the contents.
So if it's helpful to the RCMP, I'd be happy to furnish you with this ATIP. Would you like it?
Again, it doesn't involve us. We want to make sure that any document that's brought into investigation is done properly. So you could keep the ATIP for now, sir.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that those diligent folks from your agency who are behind you there caught that ATIP number when I offered it and can access that file. In the Auditor General's report, she noted that she referred information related to the cozy relationship of CBSA officials and certain vendors to the RCMP. Is that being investigated, Commissioner?
Again, Mr. Chair, we have multiple investigations ongoing based on information that were collected, so I'll leave my answer to that.
So it's important for Canadians to know if senior officials from the Liberal government are being investigated for criminality because there's been a reference made to you by an independent officer of Parliament. You said that you're unable to tell us who is the target of any of your investigations. So my question is this: if the evidence leads you there, will you commit to Canadians to interview any senior government official, including any minister, including the Prime Minister, if those conversations or interviews would be germane to your investigation?
Well, Mr. Chair, I can commit that our team will follow every single lead of investigation evidence and interview the people who we must interview in our investigation.
So that would include anyone, including senior government officials or elected officials?
That, Mr. Chair, would include anyone.
On the topic of documents, Min Doan, who's the Chief Technology Officer, is alleged to have destroyed thousands of documents related to ArriveCan. Are you aware of those allegations?
Mr. Chair, I am not. I'd have to defer to Mr. Flynn, see if he is aware.
Again, that would be a matter that would or could be part of an ongoing investigation, and we would not be speaking to that today.
Could you tell us, with my last question, what penalties the intentional destruction of documents that are the subject of a criminal investigation, what are the potential penalties that someone would face if they were charged and convicted?
So in the context that you're asking the question, I believe it'd be inappropriate for me to get into details. However, I can very cautiously move outside of the context of the question, if you'll allow me to.
Please.
And say that anyone that takes any steps that thwarts a criminal investigation can face consequences for doing so. There are numerous offenses that could be applied in those situations, including obstruction. But I do not answer that in the context of the initial question. I just simply say, to try and aid you in your work today, that any destruction of documents that are relevant to criminal prosecution with intent to interfere with that could face criminal consequences.
Thank you very much. That is the time. Turning now back to Mr. Barrett for 5 minutes, please.
Commissioner, you said you're investigating the ArriveCan scandal, the Arrive scam, because of the Auditor General's report. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, you would say, Mr. Chair, that it initiated in January 31st, 2023 with the referral from CBSA when it was Bottler AI, and then it grew from there.
Okay. So the Bottler AI investigation caused you to open an investigation into ArriveCan. It was not a reference from the Auditor General?
I'll ask Mark if you can clarify, but initially the complaint that was received, or the referral that was received to us or sent to us, was with regards to procurement process in general. And then...
Yeah, it's difficult to be precise on the timing of which elements, because when we have different sources of information coming in
Sure.
that generated the start of it, we can follow up, but again, likely that detail will be something that the investigators will not want to be made
Sure.
public, so we can follow up.
So you have the work of the Auditor General, that report. You have multiple other investigations that are being pursued through officers of Parliament. We have the Public Sector Integrity Commissioner, the Information Commissioner, the Privacy Commissioner, of course, the Procurement Ombudsman completed a report, completed an investigation. The Lobbying Commissioner has received complaints and information related to this file. Have you been working with these other investigatory bodies?
The challenge that we have, so question was asked earlier of a similar nature. The challenge that we have when we're involved in criminal investigations is that there are procedural rules, legal rules, privacy rules, and different rules with respect to criminal liability depending on which process you're in. So when we look at it from a law enforcement perspective, something that the Auditor General or Parliamentary Committee may be able to compel someone to come and speak to, they are protected in doing so in some of those processes, or there may be a determination later that the person did not provide that information of their own free will, and therefore we can't use it. There are times where that actually creates significant challenges for our investigation, where we will learn something, can't use it, and then there are subsequent questions about how we are pursuing certain
Right.
investigative avenues that are based on a process that's not fair to the accused.
Have you requested or received documents from the government in your investigation of the $60 million Arrive scam?
Again, that relates to details of our investigation that we won't be speaking to, and I don't have all of that information to provide that detail, even if it did not.
So we've seen the government hide documents and information from the RCMP before, including in the Prime Minister's illegal vacation to Billionaire Island and his SNC-Lavalin scandal, where cabinet confidence was invoked to protect what is a political problem. If you're met with the same obstruction in this case, what will the RCMP do to recover that information, or is cabinet confidence just the end of the road?
So I'm not confirming whether or not there was any claims of any privilege on this, so just to be clear on that. We pursue all the legal rights that we have in our investigations to gather all the information that we can lawfully obtain.
So, Commissioner, we heard shocking revelations about the Sustainable Development Technology Canada, otherwise known as the billion-dollar Green Slush Fund, that the $319 million tax dollars had been appropriated where conflicts of interest were indicated. This is found in the Auditor General's report. Are you aware of these findings? A quick yes or no, if you could, please.
Not in the finest detail there, Mr. Chair.
The House has ordered that the documents, the work product of the Auditor General, the documents from Sustainable Development Technology Canada, the documents from the Industry Minister, all be delivered to the Parliamentary Law Clerk and delivered to the RCMP. I have two questions. Do you undertake or commit to reviewing the information that's presented to you following this order of the House? And will you update the public, commit to updating the public with what the outcome of that review is?
Well, Mr. Chair, I'm not aware of the discussion that took place or if there's an appetite to share it with the RCMP. I would say that I am open for a review, providing that the information that we receive can be disclosed and obtained in a legal fashion. So if there is a follow-up to do, that we can do the proper follow-up.
Thank you very much.